Hello, Mischa. How are you? You sound wonderful. I was just listening to you playing. Sounds great. And that's after, what, 93 years of age?
93 years.
You know, after, what is it, 90 years of performances,
Yeah.
what goes through your mind when you listen to a new pianist?
Sometimes I envy them because they play the contemporary new pieces that I would love to do. See, I mean, sure, it's nice to know Mozart, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, Schumann, Chopin, but I like something contemporary like Shostakovich.
Yeah, or
or
Prokofiev.
Prokofiev.
Right. But, you know, you're still playing. I mean, you're still doing concerts.
Oh, yes. I played Prokofiev's famous sonata, the seventh, and I played the number 2, which is seldom played. It's called Sonata Fantasy. That's the one I played.
You've been playing for literally 90 years. Were you always playing piano?
Always.
Always piano?
Yeah.
When you started, how young did you start? 3 years of age or something?
Yeah, well, 3 years ago I started the violin.
Oh, you started the violin?
The violin, yeah. And then when my teacher started to beat me up and I started to cry.
Is that right?
Absolutely. You know, he wanted me to hold the violin this way.
Yes.
I mean, this way, the correct way.
Yes.
And I held it this way. So he said this, and I said, so he started to beat me. And at that moment, my mother came in, and I started to cry. You know, a violin that big.
Sure, sure. And then you switched to piano.
Then I switched to piano, see, because her brother was an excellent pianist. See.
How soon did you actually go on tour and do concerts?
At the age of 8.
8?
30 concerts. 30. I think it was 30 concerts, something like that.
So
with a singer.
Oh, with a singer. Was
Yeah,
this
with a
just in Kiev?
It was
The tour
no.
was-
It was in Ukraine.
Okay.
Ukraine.
All
See,
over
Kiev was the city, which was the capital of Ukraine. See, and from then on we went to all different little towns.
At 8 years of age?
Yeah, and with a singer, and my uncle were they took care of me. See.
Yes.
So when the singer wanted to sing the Two Grenadiers, and it was a little bit too low. He wanted a little higher. You see, the G sharp minor. No, it was, let's see, G minor. He wanted a little bit higher.
Oh, he wanted in G sharp.
G sharp.
Right.
You see,
okay.
so the companies that went with us, he refused to do it. He couldn't do that. So my uncle said, all right, Mischa, go ahead. Play it in the G sharp. So I did.
And you transposed it?
Yeah.
And that's a very difficult key.
Very difficult.
At 8 years of age?
Yeah.
Now, at what point did you go abroad, to France or Paris?
Oh,
So
that was after Rachmaninoff.
that was
After I played the Rachmaninoff, he told me that he would like to have me as a pupil, but that he concertizes too much.
Well, let me go back a little bit if I can, Mischa. I mean, there's a big spell between doing your concerts in Kiev and meeting Rachmaninoff. Why did you come to America in the first place?
I'll tell you why. There were 5 children of us, and my father and his 3 brothers were in a very wonderful business. But my father died suddenly, and my...
That was Mr. Kottler.
No, it wasn't. Kottler is my stepfather's name.
Oh, so what was your first name then?
Salganik.
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 Okay.
Salganik. Mischa Anatolovich Salganik. That was my real name. See, so, and my mother, because my uncles wouldn't give her any money, so she had to do something. So she wrote her relatives in Chicago. And they said, just come, we'll take care of you. So she went with 3 children. And 2 of us, Joe and I, were left with my grandmother. See, then she remarried Kottler.
Okay.
See,
And
my mother
then
was
brought you over then.
Yeah, my mother was extremely good-looking, very beautiful woman. So no wonder my father went after her with 5 children. See, so 2 of us she left with my grandmother, Joe and I, and she took 3. So, then when she remarried, she sent for us. And that was the biggest mistake she ever made.
Why is that?
because I had everything going my way in conservatory, in school, and everywhere. So she should have left me there.
Oh, but then we would not have had you in America.
I know, but then
I mean, think of how successful you've been in the United States. How did you meet Rachmaninoff? How did that come
well,
about?
that's it. You see that picture,
Yes.
our?
Yeah, right behind me.
He came to teach at Chicago Musical College.
Leopold Auer.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was in New York, but he came to teach Chicago Musical College. And one girl by the name of Nina Wolf wanted to play for him at Chicago Musical College. So she asked, I knew her, so she asked me, Mischa, would you do me a favor, accompany me for Leopold Auer? I said, certainly. So she played Symphony Espagnole by Lalo. And I accompanied her. And then during the conversation, I just happened to say, Professor, did you ever meet Boris Nakhutin? It's my uncle. Oh, he said, he used to be my accompanist
At the Imperial
at the
Conservatory.
Imperial Conservatory, you see.
Russia, right.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
then I had to say something. So I said, oh, how wonderful it is. I'd love that. He said, would you like to be my accompanist? I said, yes. So I said, come with me to New York. See, he came to Chicago just for the master class.
So you went to New York?
I went to New York. I was 15 years old.
We're going to pause for just a moment for a public service announcement, but join us again because we're going to hear how Mischa Kottler met Rachmaninoff.
Here's one time it doesn't matter who your neighbor is. Here's the other. Life's too short. Stop the hate.
Thank you for rejoining us. I'm here with Mischa Kottler, the living legend. Mischa, now we're back at our story about Rachmaninoff. You're in New York you've been working with
Auer. Yeah.
And what happened?
One day I came in, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, that I came after the weekend. So he said to me, don't forget, tomorrow you play for Rachmaninoff. I said, what do you mean tomorrow? He said, tomorrow you play for Rachmaninoff. I said, could you give me a little more time? He said, I can't because he's going on tour. And if you want to play for him, this is the time to do it. So both of us went to him. See, he led the way.
How was he? How was Rachmaninoff?
Oh, he was very good. Good. You know, being that I was small, and he was great.
How old were you at that point?
When I went to Rachmaninoff?
Yes.
About 18 years old.
18.
About that.
So what did Rachmaninoff say? He asked you to play, of course.
Well, yeah, he asked me, what can I play? So I said, I could play for you Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, you know. And do you play something modern? Yes, I say I play Prokofiev and so on. Do you play something of my own?
Of course.
So I said, yes, I do. I play, well, what do you play? I said, I'm playing this. I could play the second concerto. You see, I know the third also, but I said, the second, I love the second. So I said, would you play? So after I played all those other pieces, I started out with the second concerto. See, first page, second page, on the third page, he stopped me. He said, I wrote in a score ritardando, and you're making accelerando. I said, Господин, I said, sir, Rachmaninoff, I heard you play, and you did the same thing. You made that accelerando instead of ritardando. It says, Oh, did I? Said yes. Good, good.
That's very good.
So there you have it.
So, Mischa, how about playing something for us? What would you like to play for us?
Well, I played maybe the
How about Schumann?
Schumann,
Schumann?
arabesque.
Arabesque sounds
Yeah.
like a good idea. Okay, well, let's do that. Mischa, that was very good. I love Schumann. So you're wedded to Schumann.
I love Schumann, I love Chopin, I like Brahms, I like, but I like Tchaikovsky too.
Right. Let me skip over because you know your
Yeah.
biography is well known, and
Yeah.
you were with Leopold Auer. You met Rachmaninoff. Rachmaninoff suggested you go to Europe, where you studied with Alfred Cortot.
No, he didn't say Cortot. He said go to Europe and study.
And study.
Yeah, because he said you have to have somebody to teach you.
Right.
To,
And then you
and
went.
then I went because he said he would like to have me as a pupil, but he cannot because he concentrates too much. But I have to have somebody to look after me. So I went to Europe and I went to Cortot, not knowing that he didn't care for Cortot.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh.
You see, all Russia loved Cortot. He, for some reason, didn't like Cortot.
But now from Cortot, you went to Vienna.
Yeah.
And then worked with Emil von Sauer.
Emil von Sauer, yeah.
Now that's a very interesting line. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, I think at this particular point, it's important to establish that line. Beethoven, Czerny, and then Liszt, and then von Sauer, and then Mischa Kottler. So
Yeah,
you're in a direct
because
line,
when you
a
said
direct
Liszt-
academic line.
Yeah, but don't give the impression that I studied with Liszt.
Oh, no,
I say,
you
that's
didn't.
it.
But these were each one of these were pupils of the others.
Oh, yes.
And so
I
then,
mean, Czerny, pupil of Beethoven.
tell me how you actually ended in Detroit. I mean, were you invited to come to Detroit?
No. I told you, my father met us in Baltimore.
Right, I understand.
All right, and he took us to Detroit.
Oh, your father took you to Detroit?
Yeah, because he was married to my mother.
I see. So your father, your stepfather, took you to Detroit.
To Detroit.
How did you start with the symphony and WWJ? You were there for years.
Yeah,
What happened? How did that come about?
I'll tell you how it came about. I came to Detroit during the, what do you call those bad times that they had in Detroit?
The Depression?
Depression.
Right.
During the Depression. Nobody wanted to hear me. They said, music is dead. Nobody wanted to hear me. See, so I said, I wrote my cousin. My cousin was married to Balaban. Now, I don't know if you know Balaban. Balabans were the owners of Paramount.
Ah, yes, okay.
You see? So I wrote her that I have no place. They refused to hear me because of the Depression. So she and her husband wrote a letter to, I think it was the Vice or somebody like that, if they possible to take me in to the Fisher Theater. And the Fisher Theater was Sam Benavy. He was the conductor of the Fisher Theater. See?
Now, the Fisher Theater at that time was a cinema, isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah, it was a beautiful theater.
And did they have, what did they do? They showed a movie and also a
showed-
concert.
No, showed the movie and played an overture, you know.
Oh, I see,
Yeah,
okay.
and there was an organ, a beautiful organ. You see. So the conductor, see, he said, Kottler, you play beautiful, but you have no hair.
You have no hair?
No hair. See, he said, and you have to have hair when you play at the Fisher Theater or the theater.
Yes.
So anyway, so he said, is there anything you could play? And I said, yes. I tell you what, have you got any good orchestrators here? Oh, he said, we got wonderful orchestrators. It was about 35, 40 people orchestra, you know, there. So they arranged it that they made an orchestration and I played a big solo part.
Did you ever play like Chopin also there? I mean,
Oh,
was it-
yes, but I played Chopin, I played Schumann, I played everything.
How about playing a piece by Chopin right now for us? Would you do that?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll stop, ladies and gentlemen, for just a moment, and then when we come back, Mischa Kottler playing Chopin.
The most important secretary in your town doesn't work for a chairman of the board or for a president.
Don't worry, I'll call him a substitute.
She works at a school.
Tony, where are your sneakers?
I don't know. Thanks, Mrs. Jeffries.
From 8 in the morning until the sun goes down behind the bleachers, Lisa Jeffries does what every
Thanks,
member
guys.
of the NEA does every day.
Phoebe, what's the matter?
I missed the school bus.
She helps your kids get through school.
Mischa, that was another beautiful piece. I love Chopin. I love Chopin. You play it particularly well. Now, how did you get tied in with WWJ? Because you were their music director forever.
I know, but listen, I tell you how. You see, after I played with the Detroit Symphony,
Yes.
and I heard that they were looking for somebody like a musical director. See, so I went to Scripps, Now, you know scripts.
I know the scripts
Yeah.
family, yes.
So they said they'll see what they can do. They made me a musical director.
And that was the beginning of your work.
That's it. That was the beginning. You see, and from then on, my name got through everywhere.
Everywhere. Everybody knew Mischa Kottler.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, listen,
But in addition to this, though, and I don't know how many of our ladies and gentlemen out there know this, Mischa Kottler had several other names.
Oh, yeah.
Now, how did that come about? Tell us how that
That
came
was funny. You know, there was a baseball game,
about. Yes.
and the baseball game, you had to, when it rained, you had to fill in.
Yes.
So I filled in George Arno, Morgan Owen,
These are all your names that you used?
Don Del Rigo. That was Spanish program only.
Oh, that's for the Spanish program.
Don Del
Rigo.
Rigo. And then, of course, Mischa Kottler.
Yes, of course. And since that, I mean, you've had all sorts of pupils that have become very
I
famous.
know it, you see.
Ruth, how about Ruth?
Ruth Laredo.
Mekla Laredo.
Yeah. And then Cynthia Rame,
Seymour Lipkin.
Seymour Lipkin. Oh, yeah.
Then you have Stolberg, Neil
Yeah.
Stolberg. All of these people have gone out into the
Not
world.
only that, but don't forget, I have 6 or 7 people that won the Grinnell Award.
The Grinnell Award, which was a very
Yeah.
prestigious one. But I have been told that you are a very hard taskmaster.
Well, I grant you that.
You grant me that.
Yeah. I tell you, I don't, I like to, you know, when I say, oh, it's pretty good, ask Ruth later.
Yeah.
She said, imagine, Mischa told me that I play pretty good. That means it's great. You see, I never would say, oh, they're so wonderful. I never said that. I always said, oh, pretty fair, pretty good.
Thank you, Mischa, and thank you for spending this time with us. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we will finish our program by listening once again to Mischa Kottler. Goodbye, and remember, think globally, but act locally.